So a couple of things I'll say with this. In general, something that would be good to do for any of our guys out here is to claim any and all free business listings that there are out there. There's your Google business listing, of course, which is our main focus and push, but you still want to claim the ownership of any lead sources that are out there. So like Yelp, I don't like Yelp personally because they make you pay for every single thing down to your logo. But if you already have one out there, it's good to make sure that you claim the ownership of it so you can edit the phone number, make sure that's right, the website. Same thing with Bing or Facebook Maps, or not Facebook Maps, Apple Maps as well. Because something that I've been hearing from a couple of people recently is the desire to be certain that they're showing up on voice searches. Now, most voice searches are still going to pull from your Google business listing, but it's worthwhile to go through the steps to make sure that you have ownership and the information is accurate on Yelp or Yext, which is what powers Amazon's Alexa, Apple Maps, which is what powers Siri, Bing Places powers Microsoft's Cortana, stuff like that. So I'm going to put a couple links in the chat here in a minute, and I would encourage you all to do that. Nextdoor is another place that it's good just to get your free listing up there. And then I'm going to put the link for advertising, or I did put the link for advertising there. But thanks for sharing, Keelan.
No problem.
It's Phineas and Ferb in the tri-state area. Amazing. Tyler, what you got, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we're lucky. It usually doesn't work. So you're just talking about advertising things that have helped. I'm kind of in the early stages with Redmond. This is my first month with you guys, and the first month is kind of hectic getting things lined up and all. But as far as staying busy, and you were talking about advertising, something that's really helped me in the past month is local realtors. Actually creating a relationship with them, because a lot of times when someone's selling, now I do custom builds and additions. I kind of try to stay out of remodels, but more so, I'll get into roofing and additions, but remodels no. But anyways, what I'm getting at is a lot of times when someone's selling a house, they're either wanting to fix the house that they're leaving for the buyer, or they're going somewhere and they may not know where they're going. They may go rent a house until theirs is built. So if you're in that business, potentially meeting your local realtors that are high volume people, the higher volume, the better chance you have of getting to work. And I actually had a realtor call me yesterday, and I got 2 custom homes out of it. So I'm not saying it's not complete, but there's not a contract signed, but it's bringing opportunity to get those. So if you're not doing that, it's just a heads up. It's a good opportunity.
Yeah. That's good, Tyler. Thanks for sharing, man. What you got, James?
How'd you get those opportunities from those realtors? How'd you find those realtors?
Well, this one in particular is a family member of mine, but she also has several coworkers that do the same thing that have brought me work previously. Just said, hey, like when she closes the deal with whoever she's selling the house for or buying the house with or whatever. I mean, I've built several fireplaces and houses that were, I guess you could call them spec homes, and you just walk in and it's a flat wall, and they say, hey, we want a gas fireplace, or we want a wood burning fireplace. I've got several jobs doing it that way.
Yeah, the reason why I asked is because the results that you're experiencing, it's essentially what people can do whenever they work a Dream 100 system. We've talked to maybe some of you about the Dream 100. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up. It's by a guy named Chet Holmes. But basically, it's it doesn't really cost money. It just requires intentionality with an effort and kind of a plan, which we help all you guys do. But it's another way to basically create a referral source strategically, right? By going after people who are most likely to interact with your ideal and likely buyers who have a need for your services, right? And so there's actually a strategic way that you can go about that. I totally agree, man. It's a great thing. And it sounds like the Dream 100 type of results, right? So anyway, appreciate you sharing. Okay. James Sutton. What's up, dude? You're muted, buddy.
Hey everyone. So just signed up with Redmond, and so nice to meet everyone. First of all, on the real estate agent deal, I actually have a meeting with a real estate agent this afternoon. She has a house an open house, right? And basically, I met her at an expo that she was doing a couple months ago. And I had done a program through a roofing guy named Matthew Ganskin that teaches you how to, establish referral relationships with insurance agents. And so far, I've met with a few agents. I've only been able to get one to refer me out. I probably not quite doing it right. I don't know, but I basically just called her. It's the first time I've really tried, making any contact with a real estate agent. But all I did was just call her and, tell her, hey, this is what we do. This is how we can help you. This kind of the pain points that I understand that most real estate agents are going through. And the other thing is we don't have anybody that we're referring in our area. And we'd love to just promote you and put your name out there with all of our customers. And, she's like, yeah, I'm really interested. She's like, can you come to my open house? Be here today. And so, yeah, that's what I got on that. And hopefully that turns some business up.
That's awesome. Yeah. Dream 100 system would just be more about like generating like a short list of other people like her, right? And doing kind of that same sort of reach out. The big part of it is consistency, right? It's consistency in the reach out. The way that Chet Holmes explains it, this comes from a book, which is a great book that I highly recommend. If anyone's looking for a business book, highly recommend this book. It's called, I'm just, I just got it confused. What's that book called? Bryce Travis by Chet Holmes, the one we talk about all the time.
Ultimate Sales Machine.
Ultimate Sales Machine. Yeah, I was gonna say like Ultimate Cash Receipt, but Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And he talks about this idea of emotional progression, right? About how people, when they don't know you and reaching out to them, they're like, what? Like, is this guy? Who is this guy? Why is this person wasting my time? That's the kind of first barrier that you have whenever you're trying to reach out to someone. And then with enough consistency and intentionality, right? Maybe you write them an email, maybe you give them a gift, maybe you drop off donuts, send them a gift basket, whatever. Then they start being like, okay, I think this guy's legit, right? You send them your marketing materials, they're well branded. And you kind of go through this emotional progression where they're like, who is this person, to like, oh, this guy keeps on reaching out to me. Like, let's give him a shot, right? Like you've kind of experienced, James. And then they give you your first referral, you knock it out of the park, then you become their guy. Takes time, right? And again, effort, intentionality. It's not like you can just throw money at something, it's going to generate leads for you. But it can really work well to build a referral source. So thanks for sharing that, man. All right, I think we got Stacy Russell. I'm just kidding, Jordan. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep on making that joke.
Yeah. So Thanks, Robert. My network, I can tell, is screwing up, so I apologize if I'm lagging. But Robert, we started doing the call booking fee Monday. Knocked it out the park. I mean, like
Let's go.
we are like stumbling through it. Like we sound like a second grader that's nervous in front of the room, like reading from a script.
Dude.
Yeah, stuff is really funny, but like Monday morning by 10 a.m., 4 calls booked with the 59.
Let's go.
And it's like,
Dude.
they're resistant to it. And they were the gals in the office, like my wife and Bailey, they were like, we can't do this warehouse on wheel. I'm like, we're doing warehouse on wheel. Yeah, it's been going well.
Dude, that is so good to hear.
Booking calls all week since Monday with the booking fee. We haven't had the cancellations we've been experiencing in the past.
Wow.
And then kind of on a side note from that, like yesterday was like as bad of a day as you could have. Like we had a tire blow out on the highway. We had a guy get arrested on his way into work.
It's another day in the world of a contractor.
And we had another guy run over his iPad in his van, leaving the garage. Yeah, so it was just like, you know, a job fell apart at like 9 a.m. That was a $12,000 quote.
Oh,
and
great.
like, her was like, hey, actually, I know you got all this material and everything. We want to go with the cheapest option now. And so like just everything all at once, right? And just at the end of the day, it was just kind of like, whatever. That sort of stuff used to just like get my adrenaline like loaded. And at the end of the day, it was just like, whatever. I looked at it and I'm like, we made a shit ton of money today.
Yes.
Like, I was going to move on and it's not the end of the world, you know? So it was nice that like I didn't get frazzled from, I mean, having a van blow a tire on the interstate is not great. Having a guy that's booked out and now is being held, you know, until he still hasn't had his court date, you know? So it's like, you know, in Nebraska, they consider the weed, the concentrate weed, they consider it a felony. So he's like got a felony. He's already got a pretty long record. So they're not even giving him bond or anything right now. It sucks because he's got projects that he's slated to do, you know, he's in the middle of jobs and stuff, but like, we're going to figure it out. It's not the end of the world. So
dude, that is so good. That is so good on so many levels. For everyone that may not know, like you can kind of see that there's been a pre-existing conversation here. He was like, Robert, like we're doing this, you know, fee. And this has been kind of like a 2-3 week story in the group call with Jordan. So Jordan is an electrician in Omaha, Nebraska, runs a lot of service calls. And he was running into a problem with all these people giving him like cancellations.
like
right.
day of, morning of, right before we head to their house, at their door,
Right.
canceling, you know.
And so we were really recommending and gave him like a call script and kind of a structure to start implementing a service fee, right? To lock the appointment in, to even if the customer didn't go with the estimate, even if they didn't decide to do the work, it would at least cover the guy's time there and you know, some of the travel, gas and all that. And so there's all these benefits to it. And Jordan was like kind of hesitant about it. He couldn't really see it. He was nervous about it. The team was nervous about it. And so we just went through it. And that's what he's sharing about, is he's sharing like, dude, I'm locking appointments in, I'm booking work, and people aren't canceling on me. And so, and he's making more money. Right. And so a lot of times the things that we think are like, you know, I've just noticed this, like in our business, we recently switched from a 5% project management fee to a 15% project management fee. And I told my team, like, hey, this is just what we have to do because our overhead has increased. Like, this is just what our business costs. You know, this is like, you know, they were kind of nervous about it. Right. And so we really focused on building value. We really focused on doing some of the same things that Jordan has done, where when he talks about this fee to a customer coming in, he builds value, right? Of why they should choose him, why they should be even willing to pay this fee because of how his team uniquely brings value as an electrician in the Omaha area, what they do differently from anybody else and how they're going to provide a better experience. And I just have begun to notice that with these things that seem scary, right, is that if we can just go out and do it, right, if we can just overcome that kind of barrier of doubt, right, of fear, of whatever it is, of worry that prevents us from making the better decision for our business, for our team, for our people, for our families, whatever it is. A lot of times if we just do it, I would say that 90% of the time it works out, right? Maybe 99% of the time. I remember one of the things that we do with a lot of people when they first come to Redmond Growth is we look at your pricing, right? And we recommend a price increase. Well, that can be really scary, right? But it's this kind of ask and you shall receive concept, right? Where my Bible people at Luke 11:9, come on. Ask and you shall receive. And so, and the other thing I really like about what you shared, Jordan, is you're kind of talking about your experience in the progression of entrepreneurship. And I've noticed this progression, and I've been victim of this too, where it's like the things that got us to where we are now aren't the things that are going to get us to where we're going to go. What I mean by that is like the things that got you to where you were, right, before you came with Redmond Growth, even when you've been with us for a lot of this time, were things like worrying about every call, stressing about every customer, trying to always make everything right. And the fact of the matter is, especially as you scale, that you cannot control everything. That sometimes things like just don't work out. And you can be the best business owner, you can run the tightest ship, and not always will it go according to plan. But the thing is that maybe before, if things didn't go according to plan when we were earlier in our business, maybe we did need to react to it. Maybe we did need to freak out a little bit, right? Because the margins were thin, there wasn't as much money coming in. We really needed to make it work. But then you get to a certain spot where you have to let that go a little bit. I'm not at all saying that you care less. I'm not at all saying that you strive less to provide incredible customer experiences. I'm not saying that you hold your team to less of a standard. But I've noticed that it's like this. I can only do what I can do today to make the biggest difference. And worrying about the stuff that you can't make a difference with, worrying about the stuff that's out of your control. You know, you have no control over a guy getting arrested for fake weed on the way to work, right? You've got no control over a tire blowing out in the middle of the interstate, right? And so you as a business owner will be able to sustain the long game if you can learn to just kind of roll with the punches and say, okay, this is happening. Me wishing it didn't happen is only going to create friction, right? This is happening. What can we do? This is what's on the plate today. What can we do? We'll do all that we can today. And then at the end of the day, we hang our hat and said, I did all I can today. I'm just going to let the rest go. And I've noticed that if you can begin to move more into that sort of attitude and mindset, that it can really sustain you for the long game. And sometimes it's okay to just say, hey, a customer's upset. A customer went with someone else. That's what happened. Let's line up the next opportunity, right? Believe in yourselves and believe in your values. I really believe that in the long run, that if you believe in your values and you stick by them, even when things don't go right, that your reputation will continue to grow in the way that you really want it to, even when people are upset. And so really appreciate you sharing that. Okay, Lance.
Hey, buddy. No, earlier we were talking about like the Dream 100 and this and that, and like even kind of making simple adjustments and increments that you kind of, I was kind of interesting, kind of dovetailing off that, like making simple, adjustments to things you kind of feel like, oh, this may not matter so much. But one of the things we started doing, well, I've kind of always done, and I feel it's been really productive, is for referrals, when people send us referrals, we send a small amount of money, sometimes $25, $50, something like that to them, or a gift card to their favorite restaurant, stuff like that. And it's proven to be huge for us. We did a job for a guy one time, very small, like just kind of helped him out in a bad situation. And I sent him $50, literally sent him $50 as like a thank you after he sent us a referral to his neighbor. This guy apparently is like some leader of the small groups at his church or something like that. Guy knows everybody. And we literally have done work for years for people still sending us business from this guy. And I still send him $50 every time he does it.
That's huge. Yeah, a small token of appreciation can really go a long way. There's this concept that called like the law of reciprocity, right? And it's this thing, and you don't want to use it manipulatively because a lot of people can tell when that's happening, right? Like you can tell when someone's trying to like do something to get something, right? But there is this effect that can happen even by small ways, taking care of people, giving them a small gift for doing something that really benefits your business. That person a lot of times then becomes in a position where they're like, oh, like I feel like I want to give back to this company, right? It's this like reciprocity effect. And so that's really good. And we do that here at Redmond Growth too. If you want to refer someone, and we send you more than $50. And so you can talk to your coach about that. But that's something that I really believe in, right? Just small little tokens of appreciation can go a long way. Okay. All right, guys. What question? Do we have the guys from REI, Wisconsin here? I met with them earlier this week, and I told them I wanted to ask them a follow-up on the group call. I don't think they came. I don't think they're here today. Okay, any questions, guys? Let's jump into the kind of problem-solving, issue-solving portion of this. Mr. Barnes.
Hi guys, I'm Robert Barnes, new here. Just signed up this week actually.
That's right.
Well, you
Glad
got
to
a
have
great
you, Robert.
first name, man. That is a really strong first name.
Yeah. So yesterday we had quite the event of, I guess, worst I've had in business probably ever. Had a sub die on the job yesterday.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, it was. He was under a house. There was a unbonded gas line. He touched it, and ended up dying last night.
Damn. That's really, really tough, man.
Horrible.
Yeah.
How are you doing with processing this? What are you having to deal with right now?
Man, it's been a lot. It's
He sounds like a guy that you've been working with for a long time, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Mexican guy. I know him, but I don't know him well,
Yeah.
He was on my job under the house. It's something that couldn't have really been avoided. I had an electrician come immediately after, looked the house over, and basically they pulled the meter and said the house, nobody can mess with it again until the house is right. There's a lot of electrical problems in the house, but yeah, it's just one guy ended up in the hospital trying to pull him off the gas line, and the guy that was on the gas line, the fire department had to cut the floor out and pull him out, and he died last night. So,
Man, I'm really, really sorry to hear that. I'm glad that we can be here for you. I see in the comments that there's already people who've had similar experiences to this in here. And kind of going back to what we were even talking about earlier, Robert, you got to understand that this is one of those things that was just not within the realm of your control at all. In these situations, I had one of my best friends die a few years ago. And he was a guy that I did a lot of business with and was helping us at Redmond Growth quite a bit. And I know like my mind where it went was like, all this things I could have done to stop it, you know, but like thinking of those things, going back to like that moment before it happened, like there's no way I would have done any of these things, right? And furthermore, even if I would have done any of these things, who knows if it would have actually made a difference?
Yeah, and
Right.
that's the thing. I mean, they were messing around. They were under the house the entire week. It's not like it's something
Right. Yeah.
that could have been avoided. The gas line was being touched by it's old tube style electric, like from the 1920s. It's just something now I know to open my eyes even more for, but not something that anybody would have known. I mean, we were under the house the whole week, and I mean, I was there probably 30 minutes before it happened. I had to go run look at another job, and got a call that the fire department was there, and they thought the guy was going to die, and so I ran across town, and when I got there, he was already gone to the hospital. The other guy, they were putting him in an ambulance, and basically just I immediately, for one, called my attorney, kind of see what steps to take from there, just because, I mean,
That's a good move.
and then I just called some other business owners I know had been kind of through the same things and asked them just what to do. But
Yeah. Jordan Berry, it looks like he's typing something where he's been through a similar thing. Well, that's a heavy thing, man. And I think the biggest thing I would encourage you is, as much as you can, to not at all try to carry the weight of responsibility of that thing. You know, you didn't decide for any of this to happen. You didn't decide for this guy to go into the career he went to, right? And so that's not to say it's necessarily anyone's fault. I just believe that in you know, the world we live in, sometimes there's just really tough, sad, awful things that happen, right? And that's just it, right? And we've got to process that. We've got to. I think it's really, really good, Robert, that you talked about it. I think it's rare that anyone would, especially being so new, would come here and talk about it. And I think that's the best thing that you can do. And I would just encourage you that if a moment ever comes in of, hey, or a thought ever comes in of, oh, I could have done this, or should have done this, or this is somehow my fault, that you just get that thought out of there. That you just say, no, that's not true. That's a side of me that does not need to be entertained. There's a side of me that's lying to me, because the truth is that you had no control over that. Your team had been down there for a week, probably doing something I assume you've done before, right? In a lot of other places. And I just really hope that you don't carry that responsibility, right? You're not responsible for that at all. So appreciate you sharing that, man. And for what it's worth, I'm really glad that you're part of our program, and just really appreciate you using this group in that way. I think it takes courage to come here and be a new guy and to share something like that. It looks like there's a couple of people, Dale and Jordan, I noticed. I don't know, there's a couple of others that I'd recommend maybe reaching out to directly. And just to get some of their feedback, because it sounds like there's some people that have been through a similar situation as this. So I'm really sorry, man. And I'm really glad that you're here. I still think you have a strong first name too.
yes, sir.
Okay. All righty. Well, yeah. Dale Eade said that you can call him, right? And so who's your coach, Robert?
It's me.
Bryce, can you give him Dale's number from his agenda?
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'd really call Dale. Dale's a good guy. Dale's been with our program for a number of years. He's a guy that we really, really love here. He's a plumber down in Oklahoma City, where we're based out of. He's really, really grown. He does really everything that we recommend here at Redmond Growth Right. And he's been in this business for a very long time. And so I think he'd be a really good guy to talk to. Yeah, dude. And there's something I'm noticing even in this group right now, if I can just say it, and something I'm a big believer on. So I read a book a number of years ago that really made an impact on me. And it was a book called Daring Greatly by a woman named Brene Brown. And Brene Brown is not in the world of like contractor. She's a research psychologist, right? She's been like a social worker all her life.
What was that title? Sorry.
Yeah, it's I'll type it in the chat here. Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Travis or Bryce, I don't know if you guys want to throw a link to the Amazon there. But it's like, and I think maybe it's like for men, and I think for contractors, there's like a certain toughness that we kind of assume we need to have. And I do think some of that's good, right? You got to be tough to be a business owner. You got to be able to, like we were talking about with Jordan, like you got to be able to withstand shit, like it's tough out there. But I think sometimes we can err in the direction, or at least I've erred in the direction of like trying to overcompensate. Right? Afraid to show a side of myself, afraid to put myself out there, afraid to talk to someone about something I'm struggling with. And I feel like that always made everything worse. And because it's based in shame, right? I was carrying a lot of shame about who I was, about, the stuff I'm going through in life, because I had this idea that, I just need to be this tough business owner who just gets shit done. And that really drove me to a place where I was really empty on the inside, right? I didn't have connections with people. I was drinking way too much. For those that don't know, I'm in AA. I'm in recovery. I had to quit drinking because it was such a problem for me. And in this book, Daring Greatly, she talks about how she starts with a quote by President Theodore Roosevelt. And it's kind of like a poem. It's from a talk that Theodore Roosevelt gave, but it's called "The Man in the Arena." And basically, in that quote, she talks about how the man in the arena, you got all the people on the outside criticizing, but the guy who actually is going through it and willing to go through it through everybody, that's the guy who really gets it in life. And she talks about how vulnerability, whenever you're willing to put yourself out there, whenever you're willing to admit your mistakes, whenever you're willing to, even shed a tear or two in front of other people, she goes that has this interesting effect. We're so afraid to do that because we're so afraid to be judged. That's how that shame works. We're so afraid and ashamed that, oh my gosh, I'm a human being who makes mistakes and has emotions, right? And who cares about people and cares about situations and who sometimes gets scared and overwhelmed. But she says that by being vulnerable, it actually inspires vulnerability out of others. And I just thought that was really cool that Robert sharing the story, new guy in the group, really tough situation, freak situation. And as he's sharing this, it's like all these people are like, dude, I've been there too. I've been there too. Yeah, we've got HP, just said that he lost his brother, man. And so I really appreciate you doing that, and would really encourage everyone to check out that book. She has a TED Talk that's a little bit more of an entry-level point than committing to reading a whole book. And it has like millions and millions of views. If you just type in Brene Brown, I put it in the chat there, TED Talk, you can watch it. But I think that was a really good example, Robert, of being vulnerable, and how it inspires. We're so afraid to be vulnerable sometimes because we want to self-protect, but how a lot of times that vulnerability inspires others. So appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate everyone else being open and up too. Appreciate it, Travis. There's that TED Talk. I would really encourage everyone to listen to that.
No, I don't. Sorry.
She's like a research psychologist. but she's like this Texas woman, like multi-generational Texas woman, and like that whole breed of Texan, right? So anyway, okay. Anyone else got anything that they want to share? And it's okay if we just totally change directions now, right? I don't want to be people hesitant to be like, oh, that was like heavy. Now I don't want to ask my business question. What else have we got, guys? What you've been dealing with? What questions that you have? What frustration issues have come up? Is it Keelan?
Yeah, Keelan.
Okay, good. I got it right.
Yep. Thanks. So I'm pretty new. This is only my second onboarding. And this might be a question for Nicole, but I thought maybe I'd ask you. It's just more, when I ask for 50% down on most jobs, not all jobs, depends on how big the job is. And we were discussing that last week. In some states, you're not even allowed to do that. But
I think it's just maybe 1 or 2 states you're not allowed.
Yeah, like California, and I forget
Yeah.
somewhere else. But my question is, I'm listening to this Profit First, and
Good.
my question was, how do you divvy up that money when you first get that 50%? Is it you just follow
Great question.
your percentages, or do you have to, change it up because of it's just the first 50%, which is mostly, a lot of times for materials,
Yeah, so that's a great question. And first of all, love that you're digging into Profit First, dude. Love that you're just going at it. And I'm just telling you, man. And I know you're already about it, so it's not like I need to convince you, but just your financial situation in even 9-10 months from now will be the best it's ever been if you just follow the system. We see it time and time again. Does anyone else follow Profit First here? Can anyone else attest to that? Yeah, Jordan, Luke, Bryn. Yeah. So let me tell you what I've done recently, because I've recently I've kind of overhauled the way that we do Profit First in our remodeling business. And so the first thing is, there's a kind of a few different parts here. The first thing I want to address is the way that you're billing, right? The only time that we will ever do like a percentage-based draw is for jobs that are like less than 2 weeks. Maybe if it's like 2.5 weeks, we'll open it up. But those are the only situations where we'll collect a strict percentage. What I'm a big believer in is actually, and we did a workshop on this a couple weeks ago, and I want to put the video in the chat because we had the whole thing recorded, and we go really into detail. There's some of you that were at that Profit as You Progress billing workshop, right? That's the thing that we did. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that your collections isn't based upon an arbitrary percentage, even if it's 50%. You want to be sure that it's based on the amount that you actually need to pay for. What is that? Okay. I don't
Robert,
know.
you might be. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
using the companion mode. No worries.
Okay, that's totally fine. I didn't know. I don't know what it was. I just had not seen that before at a Google Meet. So you want to collect based upon Keelan, the actual amount that you're going to need before your next draw, right? So one way that you can do that, let me show you something that I recently did here, just because the visual is going to be more helpful. Of course, it's like opening my system setting. Dude, okay. I made the mistake of getting on Google Chrome, and I'm going to use Safari to show you this. It was like trying to make me like quit.
Can't make Robert Redmond quit.
Oh yeah,
He ain't
that's
no
right.
quitter.
Okay, hang on real quickly here. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this is an actual, like you can think of this as, I call it a, like this is how we do our billing, right? It's like a more detailed kind of invoice you can think. And the point I'm trying to illustrate by sharing this is that we collect based upon the actual activity that's going to happen on the job before our next draw. So how can you know what to bill? Well, if you have, like we create what we call mini budgets, right? Where, okay, it's hard to forever predict the schedule of like a longer term project, but we can know with really good certainty what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks or the next 3 or 4 weeks, right? So what we do is we create a, like for this one, this was a 3-week mini budget where I met with a customer and we do regular biweekly meetings with the customer. And so I met with the customer and I said, hey, here's what we plan on doing in this next 3-week period. Right. Went over all the labor that we're going to do, went over all the, subcontractors we're going to use, went over all the materials we need to order, right? Came up with a subtotal. And then what I did is with each draw, I'm making sure that we're including our fees there, right? And the cool thing about that is that really, really works well with Profit First. And here's how. Is because in my Profit First setup, and this is recommended in the book Profit First for Contractors, but I don't think it's in the main Profit First book. But I don't think you need to read Profit First for Contractors. If you want to, great. But Profit First for Contractors is basically the same book. It's written by this great contractor and consultant named Sean Van Dyke. He's a great dude. But I think we recommend reading the main book first because all the concepts are the same. The only difference is that the Profit First for Contractors includes what I'm about to tell you, right? And so what we did is we created a subs and materials account, right? So whenever I collect a draw, I know exactly how much is going to subs and materials. It's that amount right there, the $32,930. So what I do is I review with the customer pays a bill, that money deposits, and I'm immediately putting $32,930 into a subs and materials account that I don't touch until my, have to either buy materials, right? Or until sub invoices come in and I pay those invoices. And I always have that money there to pay those things, right? And then the remainder amount here, which ends up being $10,900, right? Almost $11,000. That main amount is what I then distribute into my OPEX, my profit account, and my tax account, right? And then we also, in the state of Washington, we have to remit sales tax on every single dollar that comes in our door. So then I also have a sales tax account, and I just put this money there. And so the percentages are really easy to follow, and it's a good place to start. But for contractors, I actually recommend creating a subs and materials account, making sure that when you're collecting, how much of that bill is going to go to subs and materials, right? The reason why I don't recommend percentages necessarily is because, well, what happens if you have to spend 50%, right, before the next draw just on materials and maybe subs or payroll, right? So I believe in including your fees on every single draw that you do, right? If that's 50%, but that 50% includes fees, that's okay too. And then I would recommend putting the actual money based upon the POs or the invoices or the estimates you receive from your subs, based upon the material pricing for the materials they're going to buy, whatever that actual dollar amount, not a percentage, a dollar amount is, that's what I'd recommend putting in the subs and materials. And so, like the percentages are helpful, but I remember I met with my bookkeeper recently, and she's really well versed on Profit First. Her name's Jessica Jackson, and I remember we were talking about wanting to like kind of upgrade the way that we do Profit First in our construction business, and she was like, "Well, hey, it's actually better if you can most people who run Profits First, they don't know the actual dollar amounts when money is deposited. They don't know the actual amount that's going to have to be used for, cost of goods sold or OPEX or whatever. Right. So she said that if you can use the actual dollar amount and the actual dollar amount of, it's not just based upon a percentage on your P&L. If you know for this project that you're going to need $32,930 to pay subs and pay materials, put that exact amount into a subs and materials account, and then let your real revenue do the percentage flow in your profit, tax, and OPEX account. So I know that was a little bit technical, and I covered a lot here because I covered part of what I covered was how to do billing, right? And how that way to do billing can really work well for a different kind of Profit First approach. Does that make sense, Keelan, or what questions do you have?
Yeah. So if we're looking at this example, total owed is 44,000. So you're saying the first payment you got was 32,930.
No. So this is kind of like what we did this workshop on. Oh, dude. Okay, so check it out. So Travis, appreciate this so much. Is this the latest recording? Okay, it is. So
Yeah, that's
Travis,
the new one.
okay, sweet. Travis put the recording and the official guide into the chat of this billing system of what the spreadsheet is based in, right?
Okay.
So it's like a 2-hour training, and we go really in depth, but that will explain how we do billing. The way that we do billing is, again, we create like kind of like a mini proposal for like a 2-week period, and then we bill based upon that. Hey, here's the actual activity that's going to happen in these next 2 weeks. Then we do transaction reports, right? That shows, okay, here's the period that we billed for previously, right? So they owed us 11,000, and then here's what actually happened. So in these next 2 weeks, the job only cost us 9,000. You have all the payments that you've made. Have all the costs, and our costs include our fees, right? That have actually transpired on the job. And then that creates a delta, right? So that when we collect for the mini budget, they basically have a delta or a discount because of the previous budget that they paid that wasn't all used, right? So that the remainder of that budget is going to go into the next thing. So the total that we were going to charge the customer was $48,429.
Okay.
But then they had that surplus, that delta, right? Money left over from their previous budget, so that we only billed them $44,202. So that's what they paid us. And we only are going to spend, we estimate $32,930 on actual hard costs, right?
Okay.
And I'm showing people this. I'm like walking them through this. Like, people are seeing our fees every single time and paying them. Like they can see the breakdown. Part of that is how you set up a job, how you set expectations for the way that you do billing. But there's doing this billing style, it just will make sense to people, right? If you just explain to them, hey, we're only going to charge you based upon the actual activity that happens on your job when that happens. So if you can get behind our fees, which is the money that we need to really manage the project, pay for the overhead, pay for the tools that we use to manage a project, like our software, insurance, those things. That's our project management scheduling fee. Our contractor fee is a profit. We want to make a reasonable profit. We believe that as a contractor, a 20% profit. We literally tell this to customers, and people can get behind it because it's not crazy.
Yeah, I actually had an issue because I charge an 8% general conditions and then 12% profit and overhead. And I showed it to a client, which I usually did, is pretty open about it, and they freaked out. They said, I've never seen this before, 20%, this, that, and the other. I was like, what?
Yeah. And so
now I don't show it.
yeah. And again, whatever billing system works for you is the one I recommend.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that you're profitable. When I hear a 12% and 8%, that actually makes me a little bit nervous. But we also haven't gone into your billing yet. So I don't even know if you do cost plus, because like we do cost plus. And when we give someone the cost plus pitch, they don't freak out when they see our fees, because they know literally, hey, this is what it actually costs. You're paying for the actual cost. And this is what you're paying us to be your general contractor to solve this problem for you, for our resources, for our team, for our knowledge, for our expertise, for our planning, for our ability to read blueprints, for our ability to file permits, right? All this other stuff that you as a homeowner would have to dedicate a full-time job to learning and doing. And you have a full-time job already, so you can't do it. That's the value that we provide to you. You want a new kitchen? Great. There's a lot of things that you need to know in order to do that. A lot of people you need to know. You can go, try to find the people yourself and look at their Google reviews and hope you're getting the right fit, or you can let us do it for you. A company that's already proven, vetted, and has an excellent team that can handle your entire project seamlessly and make it stress-free. And so the way that we bill is that we charge you the direct cost for materials, what we actually pay in materials, what we actually pay in subs. We charge you a standard labor rate, right? And then we have we've changed our project and management scheduling fee, a 15% project management scheduling fee and a 20% contractor fee. People say yes to it.
Yeah, I kind of like that whole Delta thing. It's like they feel like they're getting money back almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's real trust that's built, because it's like, oh man, these guys are like tracking every penny of my job.
Right. Yeah.
Because what typically happens if like a customer's unhappy, the first thing they start asking about is the money. Like if they're frustrated because like you had to reschedule a sub or whatever, then they feel like the project's like 2 days delayed. The first thing I've seen them go for is like, hey, can we see this? Can we see that? Like, how's this being used? Like, what's that? Why am I paying for this? And so if you can just beat them to the punch from the beginning and just be like, we are fully transparent with everything. Like, you're going to see it. It allows me as a business owner to never stress if someone's asking about money stuff, and they don't really ask about it because I show them it from the very beginning and continually update it. And so what that does is that builds a lot of trust. It makes a customer be like, oh, this contractor is like sharp and on it, and they're tracking every dollar. And so anyway, that training is where I explained this whole system. I know your question was about profit first. My recommendation would be to first, whenever you're billing, make sure whatever you bill, whether it's 50%, 30%, 60%, whatever it is, make sure that you're collecting enough to cover all the costs to do that job before your next draw. So determine what that number actually is before your next draw, right? Collect that number. And then based upon the expenses that you collect on, if you're figuring those out, you need to know those. You will know what those are. You put that money into a subs and materials account or a subs and materials and labor account. And then the remainder that you have left over, you flow through the profit first percentages in your profit accounts.
Gotcha. Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Really great question. Really great question. I'm thinking about doing another kind of intensive with business owners just on this, like this kind of stuff, just this billing system, how to run profit first. Because dude, I'm at a point now where it's like, I never have to worry about paying a bill.
Yeah, that's great.
Like, dude, oh man, even now we have some subs that we weren't running. That's why we got this system. It's because I was like, how are we still not paying our subs on time? And I'm proactive with them. I talk to them, I work with them. I hate though that people are waiting for us on money.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I'm just going to put the money that they need into account. I'm not going to touch it until their bill's due so that I can, bam, pay that immediately. without thinking twice about it.
Cool.
So anyway, yeah. Okay. Jordan has one more question or thought. We're just over time, Jordan. So we got to make it quick, but what's up? Oh, you're muted there. Hey, you're muted, buddy.
We worked on change order policy this week with our team on our Monday morning meeting. And we're trying to find a good way to get like a digital copy onto iPads that a customer can sign rather than paper pencil everything. And I was wondering if anybody had like it's getting, we're not finding a good way to get that uploaded into House Call Pro. So ideally we'd find a way to get it into House Call Pro since we're already using that software. If not, like I've heard of a software called Bluebeam, but basically some sort of software that something can be digitally signatured and edited and that sort of thing.
Dude, I'm really surprised to hear that House Call Pro can't do a change order. Could you not just write a new estimate for that customer?
I'm not saying that there's not a way to do it. I'm just saying we're struggling to implement it. We're like, we've tried and we've been on their tech support and stuff like that. They're kind of giving us a way in the software that's really cumbersome.
Okay, do we have some feedback from the team of Pitch Cables? My thought would be just to write it like the same way you create an estimate, just write an estimate and call it like change order dash customer name, number one or something. But
I use DocuSign.
Oh, that's a good idea too. That's a really good idea.
They could sign it right there and then, and that's an electronic signature.
Dude, that's a great idea. So I know like Buildertrend, they have like, and mostly I think the construction softwares have like really easy change order tools to use. But that's a great recommendation. DocuSign, there's a PandaDoc is another one. Jordan, you could create a like a change order template where it's all already built out and all the guys need to add is like the actual materials, actual labor costs.
So what I'm talking about is like the original, hey, we haven't even started work yet. This is our change order policy. You have to, agree to it before we begin. So it's not actually like listing out, hey, we moved it out like feet. It's like, this is our change order policy. Agree to it before work begins.
Could you put your change order policy on the original estimate terms and conditions?
I have it on all my estimates.
Yeah.
The change order policy.
We could. Sorry, go ahead, Robert.
I honestly, I had ChatGPT draw up a change order agreement and copy and paste it into all my estimates. It's right on the estimate. It says if a change order arises, this is the protocol we go by. And then if a change order comes up, I create basically a new estimate that they have to sign the estimate to agree to and approve, and then turn it to an invoice and move on.
That's what I'm thinking, Jordan. So
no, it's not like a separate document. It's just in the terms and conditions on the original estimate.
My terms and conditions are pretty long on basically the notes of the estimate, but it says like, if this happens, here's the answer. If this happens, here's the answer to that. As far as billing everything,
that would simplify it a lot, I think, for me, because we were trying to upload like a separate document that would get a second signature. In addition to approving the estimate, it would be like a separate signature for the change order policy.
No, I think
how we were originally doing it.
Yeah, I think especially if this is like service work, especially, like the name of the game is terms and conditions on an estimate that are like, summarized. You're not having to do, I think Robert's method at the end of the day is the safest method, right? He almost is putting a contract on his estimate. I'm sure at the bottom of that terms and conditions, Robert, that you have by like signing this estimate, you agree to the price and the terms and conditions. Yeah.
For instance, like if I'm lifting your house and we crack your walls is what started it. Like when I'm moving your house, the walls are going to crack. So we put it in there. Hey, if your walls crack, we can fix it, but it's going to be a charge to fix those cracks.
Yeah, I would put it on the terms and conditions of your estimate, Jordan. And I try to simplify the language without compromising anything that the customer needs to know.
Right, because that's where, like, in the service world, right? Like sometimes your goal is to get in and out of a job in 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever. And it's like you don't want to spend 30 minutes just going through documentation with, like, you want it streamlined. Like, here's your estimate, here's our terms and conditions, like, boom. Like, I want to get that process done in 15 minutes, you know?
Yeah, that's like a 2 minute, maybe 5 minute process max.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so you're just going over, you're having the tech go over the price, and then you're having them say, hey, here's our terms and conditions. Here are the important things to watch out for, right? Or here are the important things. This is when we collect, right? This is when money's due. If you do want to add to this or change something, you can do it. We have to follow a change order process. It's kind of annoying, but it's going to end up benefiting you, the customer. Right. Here's how we follow that process. Then, you know, here are the next things to pay attention to. Like on onboarding for Redmond Growth, like we have people sign the contract, and then I go over like 3 or 4 main points in the actual onboarding just for people to know, like the most important kind of points for people to know. And so that's what I would do. Really good recommendation, Robert.
Yeah, I think that I like just adding into the terms and conditions, because it's tough enough getting the guys on board with what we're doing and then be like, hey, now there's a whole nother step you got to do. So the terms and conditions, that's already an existing step. It's just adding to it.
Exactly. Yeah. And telling your guys, hey, make sure to go over the change order process. I'm more concerned about whether your team follows a change order process than I am about, you know, the customer knowing it.
And so that was like our focus of point is like, hey, they talk about it, they know it, but like what ends up happening is we're trying to retroactively apply change orders. So like customers change stuff all the time. Oh yeah, okay, no problem. But they're not like, they miss the point. They think like stop work means like can't do anything. It's like, no, there's other stuff you can do. We just can't move forward with the change orders until that part's approved. You can continue on with the original scope of work, but just don't do the changes until. So.
Yeah, Jordan, I really think it's a pretty simple thing. Add basic language to your terms and conditions. Train your techs into, based upon what's most important to you as a business owner. Hey guys, when we have people sign this, here's just the 3 bullet point kind of highlights I want to make sure you go over. And then it's the customer's obligation. You just got to make sure that the techs actually enforce whatever terms and conditions that you have themselves, right? So, okay, guys, well, let's wrap up today. I'm actually supposed to be meeting Nicole right now. She's messaging me and asking me where I'm at. I told her that Jordan Russell won't stop talking. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like that close to adding a 0 on my account.
Oh, let's go, man. Let's go. Heck yeah. All right, guys. Well, for those of you guys that are new here, we like to end these calls with some energy, with some excitement. So what I like to do is I have everyone unmute your mic. So everyone unmute your mic. I'm talking to you guys too, Jay, Philip, Victoria, Kyle. I see all you guys. We unmute the mic, and then I do a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then we all say the word growth, like Redmond Growth. We say growth on 3, right? Kind of like a huddle breakdown. So, okay. So 3, 2, 1. Growth! There you go.
Okay.
Everyone have a great Thursday.